right, class. Take a deep breath. Scene 7 is one of the most intense and tragic scenes in this play. If scene 6 exposes the truth, scene 7 shows us the consequences of bad leadership. This is where the play begins to move clearly towards tragedy. Let's unpack it carefully. Welcome back to my channel where I break down literature text so that you can pass your exams in flying colors. Okay, let's go there. What is happening in this scene? We are back in the palace, and this time people from Oguno come to seek help. Their people are being attacked and abducted. They are helpless. They come to their king for protection. This is what a king is supposed to do, right? Protect his people. Instead of helping them, Ajanaku says, "You deserve no mercy. Bring tributes first. Who cares if they all die?" Let's pause. Let's pause for a moment. This is not just harsh. This is inhuman. Let's analyze. He puts money above human lives. He ignores loyalty and relationships. He uses power to exploit suffering. This is the clearest example of tyranny. The visitor said, "Your father didn't treat us like this." And Ajanaku responds by disrespecting his own father. He describes his father as weak, sick, and miserable. What does this reveal? It reveals that Ajanaku rejects compassion. He sees kindness as weakness. He wants to rule through fear and control. This is a complete rejection of good leadership values. Now, this is the most shocking moment. When Ajanaku orders the man to be stripped and humiliated, the man draws a knife. But instead of attacking anyone, he unalives himself. What? Why is this important? Let's think deeply. He's already suffering. He is humiliated publicly. He has lost hope in leadership. His taking his own life is a protest against injustice. This is not just death. It is a symbol of what bad leadership does to people. It destroys dignity. It destroys hope. It destroys lives. After the incident, the elders argue. Odejimi, like we know, condemns Ajanaku's actions. He sees injustice clearly and speaks for fairness. He is now becoming more courageous. Ogundele, on the other hand, always defends the king, focuses on respect for authority, ignores the injustice, respects blind loyalty. What of Odebami? He tries to balance both sides, acknowledges pressure on the victims, and he represents moderation but weakness. Now, the problem is not just Ajanaku, as we can see. It is also people who support him blindly and people who see wrong but do little. Very sad. Anyway, let us move on to the major themes that are explored in this scene. The first one is abuse of power. Ajanaku humiliates and exploits people. The second theme is failure of leadership. A king who refuses to protect his people. We see that in Ajanaku. The third theme here is injustice and oppression. Victims are punished instead of helped. The fourth theme is human dignity. Stripping the man means stripping his dignity. Tragedy is the fifth theme. Taking his own life marks a major tragic moment. And then finally we have the theme of loyalty versus truth. Ogundele represents loyalty to the king. Odejimi represents loyalty to justice. These are loyalties, but to different entities. Let me challenge you. Why did the man unalive himself instead of attacking Ajanaku? Yes, because he knows he cannot win. He refuses to be humiliated. He chooses death over disgrace. This shows oppression creates extreme reactions. Now let's look at likely why can NECO essay questions so that you can prepare for them. Okay, the first one says, examine Ajanaku's leadership in scene 7. Point out his demand for tributes, point out his lack of compassion, and point out his abuse of authority. The second question says, discuss the significance of taking his own life in this scene. Point out protest against injustice, loss of hope, symbol of oppression. Okay, that's the significance of that sad incident. Number 3, analyze the conflict among the leaders. Okay, so this incident created a drift between the leaders. So you have one on the other side, Odejimi versus Ogundele. Odejimi is against the actions of the king, so he stands for justice, while Ogundele supports the king and stands for the king. He believes in loyalty to the king. So you have justice versus loyalty, and you have division in leadership. The fourth question, compare Ajanaku with his father as a leader. Take note how the question of comparison always comes up, because the characters are like foils of each other. Okay, Ajanaku is like a foil of his father. His father is compassionate, Ajanaku is harsh and selfish. Now it's time for us to move on to JAMB multiple choice practice questions. Okay, let us test your understanding of this particular scene. The people of Oguno come to the palace to A, pay tribute, B, seek protection, C, celebrate, D, trade. Correct, the answer is B. Let's go to the second question. Ajanaku's condition for helping them is A, loyalty, B, labor, C, tribute, and D, silence. That's right, the answer is C. Number 3, the man kills himself because A, he is guilty, D, he is afraid, C, he is humiliated and hopeless, D, he is sick. That's right, the correct answer is C. Number 4, Odejimi represents A, blind loyalty, B, justice and reason, C, fear, D, weakness. The answer is B, correct. So before we call it a day, here is my final insight. I want us to connect the progression. In scene 5, we have abuse of justice. In scene 6, we see exposure of the truth. And now in scene 7, human suffering and tragedy is clearly exposed. This is how tyrants fall. First, they gain power. Secondly, they ignore warnings. Thirdly, they harm people. And finally, society begins to break. My final question, this is an exam level thinking, okay? If you're asked, how does the playwright portray the consequences of bad leadership? This scene is your strongest evidence, okay? In next class, we will begin to see, will anyone stop Ajanaku? Or will things spiral completely out of control? And that class is where the tragedy deepens. If this lesson has been useful to you, please subscribe, like, notification button, and get ready for the next class. Till then, continue to bet on yourself. Bye.